Well, retirement is a marathon. It is not a sprint, but that path to get there can certainly have its twists and turns. And that is why we consult our resident financial advisor, Jimmy Lin, certified financial planner and founder of Right Path Wealth Management in Henderson. Jimmy, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Casey. It's been a busy week, so I'm excited to get started with this.
Me too. We've got a lot of great stuff to dig into on today's show. Why Warren Buffett is moving billions into cash, some practical strategies for managing your taxes all year long, and those pesky fees that can eat away at your portfolio. But before we do any of that, if you have ever felt unsure about where your retirement stands, today is the perfect time for you to take some action. Jimmy and his team are ready to help guide you with a complimentary, no strings attached retirement consultation. We're opening our phone lines right now for our listeners. 702-744-8344 is the number to reach us. And if you are one of the first 5 callers, you will secure your spot for a personalized second opinion from Jimmy. Again, that's 702-744-8344. Go ahead, write it down so you have it handy next to you for the show. That's 702-744-8344. Or you can always head to rightpathwealthmanagement.com and you can get connected that way. All right, Jimmy, let's get into the good stuff. Warren Buffett, he is a multi-billionaire. So what he does with his money may not apply to most of us, but as a part of Berkshire Hathaway, Warren has been decreasing his risk in stocks and now holds over $344 billion in cash and equivalents. So talk to us about this, Jimmy. If Warren Buffett is de-risking his portfolio, should we be doing the same?
Well, look, Casey, there's a reason why we call him the Oracle of Omaha, right? There's nobody that has a better track record than Warren Buffett, and he's got an army of analysts that are looking at every indication in the market to see what's going to happen. So if he's moving to cash and de-risking as we talk about, then we have to use that as a signal. And so although we're not, the people that we work with, we don't have the net worth, obviously, that Warren Buffett has. It's still, to us, our life savings that we need to utilize to take us through retirement. So it's important if Warren Buffett sees some risk in the market, that it's consideration that we want to take as well. And that's what we do for our clients. And it really comes down to a strategy that we recommend all the time to clients, which is more of a bucketing strategy. So you see the S&P 500 hitting all-time highs, and everyone just wants to put all their money into that. But that is not de-risking. That's really just putting all your eggs in one basket. And so the way we look at retirement, now that you're kind of moving into a phase of distribution instead of accumulating assets, you're really distributing your assets into an income stream. You want to create those buckets of money that are going to be utilized for like 0 to 5 years, 6 to 10 years, and the 10 years plus, because there's different asset allocations for each bucket. And when you're looking at trying to de-risk a bit, it's really kind of loading up that bucket of money that's for that 1 to 5 years, because what can happen is if the market does correct itself and we see some type of large fall in the market, you are insulated a bit from that. But if we also see that opportunity come up, you can jump in and take advantage of those dips. Now, we're not trying to advocate for timing the market, but in a time of volatility, there's other options for your cash that can still participate in some market growth. And then when the opportunity arises, it may be wise to get back into the market. But we look at the market, that 10-year plus time frame as something that, you may not want to mess with as much. But if you have the buckets created for these different time frames, so I definitely want to follow a lot of what Warren Buffett does, because obviously an all-time great investor. And those are some of the strategies that we try to implement in our firm as well.
Well, I think it's always interesting to see what the world's most famous investors are doing. So when someone like Warren Buffett shifts a big chunk of his portfolio into cash, it really makes you wonder, what is he seeing that maybe we aren't? So, Jimmy, let me ask you this. With this move towards cash, what kind of economic signals do you think Warren might be picking up on? And how should everyday folks like us interpret those signals for our own retirement strategies?
Well, it's all about volatility. I mean, we see it all the time. The markets continue to hit all-time highs, but we also are seeing a jobs report where, unemployment is a little bit higher. People aren't getting into the workforce as quickly as we usually see. Sometimes that's good for the market, but not necessarily good for the overall economy. And so there's mixed signals out there. It ultimately creates uncertainty, and uncertainty is what creates those ups and downs in your portfolio. And the way we look at it, as we always emphasize, for most of the listeners out there right now, they're in a different phase than some other people out there. We look at portfolios all the time, and oftentimes what we're seeing is people have reached the point where they've done great because of this bull market that we've been participating in. And so at this point, it's really a time to change your perspective and go from accumulation to really a preservation and income strategy. How could I ensure that all those gains that I've been fortunate enough and worked hard enough to accumulate over the past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, how can I make sure that that's going to be available for the rest of my life to create that income stream so I can do all the fun stuff? So as I see it, when Warren Buffett is concerned about what's going on in the market, I don't want any of my clients concerned about things like that. Because if you have a plan, then your plan is kind of created for all market conditions. And that's what we really advocate is when you create that plan and you kind of shift into that mindset of preservation and income and things of that nature, then you don't really have to interpret the signals so much because you have a plan that is kind of built for all market conditions. So if there's listeners out there right now, like if you're sitting there, on the couch or in your garage and you're just listening to the show and thinking that this might be your situation, or you're a little uncertain that you have a portfolio that could sustain all market conditions, or you have an income plan that is going to enable you to, basically create an income stream for the rest of your life, I encourage you, pick up that phone, give us a call. I got 5 spots this week to do a complimentary consultation. So feel free to call us, get on our calendar, 702-744-8344.
Yes, you don't want to miss out on this opportunity that Jimmy is offering you today. No commitment, no obligation, but spots will fill up. So go ahead, dial 702-744-8344. We will find a spot on the calendar for you to sit down with Jimmy and get those answers that you have been looking for. That number one more time, 702-744-8344. Or, of course, you can connect online anytime at rightpathwealthmanagement.com. You are listening to The Right Path to Retirement on KXNT. I'm Casey here with certified financial planner Jimmy Lin, and we've got to talk a little taxes. How do you plan for taxes? Are you of the April 15th frame of mind, or does it go beyond that? Well, here is wealth manager Jeffrey Levine on the Decoding Retirement podcast recently. Take a listen.
Another common mistake I see individuals make is focusing too much on their annual taxes and their annual tax bill, and not enough on what I call their lifetime tax bill. When it comes to good tax planning, it's not about giving anybody the lowest tax bill in any one year. It's looking at their lifetime and trying to figure out how to pay taxes over that extended period of time such that the total of those taxes over your life is as low as possible.
So, Jimmy, I wanted to ask you, does this match your view of tax bracket management? Can you give us an example?
Yeah, Casey. Well, you should know that this is my favorite topic. Sadly, I love taxes and do taxes in retirement workshops. I mean, every single month throughout the Valley. And it's very true what Jeffrey's saying right there is we're a bit short-sighted in the way we look at taxes. Most people, as you said, the April 15th deadline, that's the extent of where people look at taxes every year oftentimes, and to no fault of their own. I mean, we all live busy lives. Nobody wants to live and die with taxes. So most people are trying to meet that April 15th deadline and do tax preparation. And tax preparation is really just compliance, really. Are you complying with the tax laws? We look at your income from last year, determine did you pay enough? And if not, you got to do a kind of a true up, right? And that's what tax preparation is. And that is the extent of what most people do with their taxes. Because if you ever went to, HR Block or your CPA and tried to talk to them about tax planning during tax season, they're going to look at you like you have a third eye, right? Because they're just trying to pump through thousands of tax returns for that deadline. But it is literally a multi-year game of chess with the IRS. And if you do it properly, you could potentially save thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, in retirement. And it is true. When you look at tax planning, it's a multi-year strategy where what you're trying to do is work within the tax brackets. Maybe trying to keep your taxes within the 24% tax bracket, for example, because what we see is that, with the big, beautiful bill that just passed, we have locked in the lower tax rates that the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act implemented in 2017. But I like to tell people, the tax code is written in pencil, not pen, because as soon as a new administration comes in, usually there's going to be some impact to the tax code. And so what we're looking at is being able to take advantage of taxes now. But as you do that, there's other things to consider. When you try to do some planning to, maybe transition some of your deferred retirement accounts, say your IRA or 401k, into a tax-free bucket of a Roth IRA, every year you do that, you're creating income, and that income can trigger other things like higher Social Security taxes, higher Medicare premiums. So it definitely is a chess game that you have to look at, but done properly, what you're doing is you are saving taxes for married couples during your lifetime, even for single individuals. But there's something called a widow's tax penalty that we can go into that you're saving money on, and then just saving money on assets that go to your heirs. So you definitely want to have tax strategizing as part of your overall retirement plan.
You absolutely do, because we see it time and time again. A retiree's got income coming in from multiple sources, and then it's adding up to a tax bill that they did not expect. So if you're worried about how your retirement income will affect your tax situation, Jimmy and his team are here to help. 702-744-8344 is the number to dial. And I just want to remind you that the first 5 callers today will receive a complimentary retirement consultation from Jimmy. That number again, 702-744-8344. We are standing by now at the office to take your call, so do not wait. Dial 702-744-8344, and we'll get you on the calendar. Or, of course, you can always visit the website. We are online at rightpathwealthmanagement.com, and you can get connected that way. That is going to do it for us this week. We will be back next week, same time, same place, with more great insight from certified financial planner Jimmy Lin here on The Right Path to Retirement. Take care.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Right Path Wealth Management. Right Path Wealth Management is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Right Path Wealth Management are not subject to investment advisory requirements. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Any reference to the protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing carrier. This radio podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It's not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decision, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Right Path Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Right Path Wealth Management.
Market Guard is a firm that provides investment signals as well as portfolio allocation recommendations, wide variety of model portfolios. Market Guard does not offer advice or enter into fiduciary relationships.